Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Shangri-La Frontier episode 43, in which we will probably set sail towards, I don't even know, towards wherever the kid captain decides to take us, I guess, because that's a thing now. What happened in the previous episode though? Well, first and foremost, we got a bit of a continuation of Kai's well, not a backstory. Kai's like parallel story, I guess you could say, where he's preparing for some sort of championship. I think it's the very game that he decided to play Shangri-La for, right? To learn the engine, the movement, the physics, and stuff like that. But unfortunately, his team kinda, well, maybe not ditched him, right? They had like legitimate reasons as to why they could not take part. Someone was grieving a family member, someone was sick, I believe. So, again, legitimate reasons. And so he has to find new members of his team, and he turned to Towa and Rakuro. Towa, we don't really know her response, although we can gauge, yeah, sure. What's the word used here? Gauge it out? How do you pronounce it? I think gauge it out, right? Like you can gauge it out pretty well by her answer that she believes that it might actually be a good move to help Kay there, because he will owe them big for this sort of help, and well, that can always be exploited, right? Sanraku, of course, has a much different view on the whole matter, being well, yeah, I could meet with them for the very first time. I've never seen them IRL. It's a nice big event, and he's gonna pay for all of it. But unique scenario though that has much more appeal to him, and so he decides to just stay and play Shangri-La and go about this unique scenario. And so he meets with Mold and what's her face? I forgot. With Mold and Rust. Mold and Rust, of course, makes perfect sense actually. With Mold and Rust in some back alley kinda tavern in the docks, where he sees them, or Rust more specifically, beating up random NPCs. And she explains that it's actually to summon the NPC that is responsible for giving them this special, unique scenario, because apparently the last time she did that, for reasons unknown to us, that NPC appeared. And so she tried to recreate that scenario. And it was successful, because the NPC did eventually appear. We have well, okay. First and foremost, the NPC appeared, and it turns out that it's a little kid named. Do we have his name? We do have his name, but I don't have his name on my list, I'm afraid. Stude, yeah, Stude the something, I think, was his full name. But yeah, he turns out to be a kid, and he knows the whereabouts of this monster, and he has some vested interest in it in a way, because apparently that monster, that unique monster specifically, was responsible. Well, no, sorry, not the monster itself. A ghost ship was responsible for his father's disappearance, presumably death, as well as the disappearance, presumably death, of the rest of his crew. And that ghost ship has some sort of a connection to the unique monster. I think they make human sacrifices to that monster, right? Something like that. And so he wants to find that ship, and probably not find his father. The chances are slim, although you never know. But if not that, then at least exact some revenge. And he needs people. He's also very annoying and obnoxious, but up to a point, and that's what I wanted to talk about earlier. He took a single glance at Sanraku and his tattoos, and immediately chilled out. Immediately started showing the almost reverence towards Sanraku, right? Like scared, but not necessarily because, like fear of being hurt or whatever, but rather the fear that being in the presence of, a being like this that instills in him. And the same is true for other NPCs as well, who also seemed very much afraid of Sanraku. Not in a way where they would be running for their lives, right? But in a way where they were, looking at him in this terrified awe all this time. We don't know what that is all about. I mean, it's probably a tie between those two quests, right? The Weathermon quest, not Weathermon quest, Lycagon quest has ties into this quest, and being marked by Lycagon has some. We know that it influences dialogue with NPCs, so that's probably this effect. I wonder what the effect of Akitsu Akane's Zigwurm mark is going to have on NPCs, if any. Speaking of Akitsu Akane, she was not in the picture. She left together with Rei and with Sikru. She decided to go back to Rabituza. Rei decided to go her own way, maybe back to Schwarzwolf to report to her sister. She was kind of like on the fence about it. But they appeared. They were brought here in front of Sanraku in big barrels, and they're here. And we don't know why, we don't know how, we don't know for what purpose. We can theorize, of course, right? Perhaps the people who defeated Lycagon are all necessary for this quest, or something like that. Maybe Sanraku forgot to dismiss the party. Maybe because they were a party that defeated Lycagon's shadow, they must, as a party, enter this quest, or something along those lines. I don't know, but that doesn't change the fact that they are here. And curiously, they were not brought here by like game system, right? Like they were not teleported, or no like portal opened and they fell out of it. No, it was pirates, well, sailors, who are in Studa's crew, brought them here in barrels. So that is like, in-world explanation, in-world kind of tie into this quest specifically. So that tells me it's probably a requirement of this quest somehow. We don't know how, we don't know why, but that's where we are right now, and that's where the episode ended. Bit of a cliffhanger in it. And with that, my throat starts to hurt, so let's start watching this episode right now, shall we? And to do that, you're gonna need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. And I'm gonna have to reset the fucking clock. You're gonna need your subs to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word. It costs you absolutely nothing to do so, and it helps the channel a lot. And with all of that out of the way, we can start watching Shangri-La Frontier episode 43 in 3, 2, 1, go. My throat started to hurt in the worst possible moment. It was fine the whole day, but now that I sat down to record, it suddenly hurts. Amazing. And this is pu'er with grenadina, which is pomegranate syrup. Surprisingly good combination. Right, what are those chains? Who is chained exactly? Some new NPC? Yeah, you know what? I really like the OP now. I really was not sold on it, like musically, but now I am. Now I'm very much sold on it. It's Ray! Explanation, please. Crimson Whale meets the monster fish. Hmm. Oh, yeah, so it is, yeah. Okay, it is essentially like sending an invitation to the quest, right? Like you're standing in front of a dungeon and it asks you, like, teleport other people here or whatever, right? Huh. Okay, so they didn't get, like, completely taken by surprise, but rather they had to accept it. She took the mask off. Yeah, she probably did the same. Oh, yeah, he didn't dismiss the party. uh, yeah, he didn't disband. Sure. Very simple explanation, actually. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the more the merrier, right? And you had fun playing alongside them. That's what matters the most. Did you forget? Did you forget? Fun is what matters here. Exactly. That's just his resting face. Okay, that's good. No problems. Yep. Clean your armor already. Uh, right, of course. It's like she shook his hand and she doesn't want to, like, wash it anymore. Oh, she clicked by mistake. Oh, that's great. Just like that. Kay just dead in a ditch. No unique scenarios for him. No, that's serious then. She gets to stay in your party. That's what matters the most. Clean your armor then. It's probably at like 20% durability. Get a repair kit and get it sorted. It's gonna bother me how dirty her armor is. Is this like a side effect of using this special skill or something? Or she like merges the white side and the dark side and her armor turns gray? Yeah, that's the scarlet whale. What's the monster fish, though? The, like, fish people that we've seen in the opening? That's actually decent CG on this ship. Oh, you're researching weapons. Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense. Pretty much, yeah. Hopefully nobody has motion sickness. Or seasickness. CG seagulls? I mean, you've been fighting monsters all this time, why are you surprised? Okay, so it's still in effect, even though you're friendly. So, like, zombie fishmen or something. Or just fish humanoids. Yeah. Far as we know, you can't really run a unique scenario multiple times, right? Yeah, makes sense. You're probably gonna have to use those ballistae at some point. Oh! Fucking robots do, but not gunpowder. I mean, technically, robots are like, ancient, forgotten progenitor technology, so sure. Yeah. Gather your strength. It's the scar. Of course, that's her biggest concern. uh, she's just gonna turn into a yandere one day, isn't she? Wait until she hears that Saraku lives with his sister. Ooh, hell on earth. That's a shame. Tension rises in music as well. Yeah, probably not quite natural, is it? I'm gonna assume that's the ship. The ghost ship is gonna appear out of this storm. That didn't take long. Honestly, I expected we're gonna spend like a whole ass episode at least just on the ship. Maybe battling some, I don't know, sea serpents or whatever, but not like, getting right into the meat and potatoes in episode 1 of this arc. Well, episode 2, technically. It's just gonna drop. Oh, no, it's gonna be summoned by a thunder. That's cool. Or is it? Yeah, from underneath the water. Emerging mast first, I expected, like, this sort of emergence. Hold your man. Don't let him fall. I was afraid this midpoint is gonna switch as to what K is doing. But no, thankfully not. They're not doing any sort of mid-episode cliffhangers. Yeah. We're just gonna waste the bolt. Fair. Damn! he is like getting immersed into it, isn't he? Yeah, I mean, they're a ghost ship anyway, so ramming into another ship is not gonna make them like double ghost. Ghost type into ghost type. Do like double type Pokemon exist? Like Thunder or Fire? I don't know. Are you sure about it? What you doing? Just tying yourself to the deck, or... Okay, just tying yourself to the deck to not fall. Or maybe not? Oh, is he gonna try to jump on board? Yeah. The red whale was actually able to take it. Color me surprised. And here come the merfolk. The zombie merfolk. Surprising, though not unexpected. Yeah, the ballista comes useful. I love how they just get completely, wiped away by the bolts. Oh, so that's the effect on her armor, probably. Right, and she's not high level. Sanaraku or Sikru? That's good assist as well. Makes sense. What's that sword you have? Not dual daggers anymore? And she's an archer. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I expected as well. Maybe some sort of a, contrast, tiny little avatar with big ass hammer or something. And Mold, of course, is some sort of a supporter. That's a cool buff. Seems to, increase the size of the projectile. Okay, we still have time. V5, meaning like what? You broke it 5 times and had to fix it? It does have this, yeah, corrosion. Yeah, and even if they are immortal, then if you just corrode their bodies into nothing, there's not gonna be anything to, to raise from dead. And Emul uses holy magic, so perfect combo against zombies. Humst, the boss of this encounter, presumably. Yep. You don't exactly have AoE though, do you? And it really seems like some sort of a spin to win attack or a big fire blast kinda thing would be beneficial here. I like the music here. Yeah, very much so. Makes sense for a supporter. Yeah, because of the fool. So just debuff the enemies. Whether you debuff the enemies or buff the players, it all comes down to the same thing, essentially. And you're gonna have to fight him. Huh? The subs were inverted. I guess because the text was also inverted. But yeah, I was about to say that you're gonna have to fight him in the sea of ads as well. Yeah, you didn't exactly kill them. Oh, there's the cutlass. He's gonna pick it up. Convenient cutlass. And she's still debuffed. Although you'd think that at her level it wouldn't have mattered all that much, right? Oh, okay. So it's not just her natural stats, but also her armor. Okay, so grab another weapon. I'm gonna assume like a one-handed axe, maybe, or a one-handed sword. Keeping you safe. And yeah, super emul cannon. Just shoot some fireballs. Makes sense to have her at a vantage point, actually. Cliffy age, isn't it? Sure enough, Cliffy age rears its ugly head again. Oh, those are his new daggers. Yep. Are we gonna see Ray's new weapon then? Somewhere in the ED? It might have been shown in the OP, actually. I didn't pay much attention. Like, didn't pay much attention specifically to her weapons, because I know what it is, so why would I be looking for it? Maybe among the ones they've been shuffling between? We'll see. Good thing they have Rei and Akitsakane with them. It would not be easy. And Sikru. It would not be easy with just Saraku Mold and Rust. Any mini theater, perchance? No? Another episode without Shangri-La Mini? Damn! Did they just completely do away with those, or did I somehow get a release that stripped of them? I don't know. What I do know though is we're gonna watch it again. That's the OP. Race weapon. No, she still has her. Yeah, her big sword. A bit of a recap. And yeah, so they were still in the party. Sanraku started a new quest, and so it just showed the rest of the party, do you want to join the quest? Makes perfect sense, actually. I was looking for some like deep ties that maybe the people who defeated the Lycagon must be present or whatever kind of thing, but no, he just didn't disband the party, and nobody left it, so they get pulled in because he's the party leader and he started a new quest, so makes sense. And makes sense for Ray's armor to be in the state it's in right now because she still suffers the debuff. Gotcha. I'm not annoyed by its dirty look anymore now that I have a good and proper legit explanation, and it's not just she didn't fix it. Yeah, I haven't just brought them in on Lycagon the Night Slayer, but Ktarnit of the Abyss too. You seem to just be kind of destined to be with them at this point, really. Might as well make them a part of your permanent party. Honestly. Like, they've been very helpful, both fighting the Lycagon and well, less so during this scenario so far, but maybe they're gonna be a little bit more useful during Tarnid after the debuffs wear off from Rei, and maybe Akitsu Akane gets a couple of levels after this encounter with Fishman is done, right? Like, you're in a party, so surely the XP will be split. We know that XP in Shangri-La is not necessarily given per kill, but rather per encounter completed, right? So presumably it's gonna be split among them. So Akitsu Akane should jump by like couple dozen levels maybe. Ultra rare unique scenario, yeah. Can't exactly just tell them to get lost and risk that they're gonna go around blabbering about it. Now that they're in on it, well, we should keep them in. If for no other reason than to keep them occupied until we complete the unique scenario, right? After we complete it, they can go and spread the word. Whatever, we've already done it. We were the first. We got the reward. Cool. But letting them go now wouldn't work. And of course, she was deliberating leaving the party. It's exactly like, as I said, touching him and then deciding to never wash this hand. High potency healing herbs. We need to explore the new continent. Okay, so Schwarzwolf is also preparing for the expansion, and she just misclicked. They just did the thing that sites with ads do very often, where you want to click on an X, but as you click on an X on one ad, another ad pops into that place with a OK button or whatever. You know what I mean, right? Not great UI design, gotta say. Right? Not great UX. You would expect maybe like additional confirmation, right? Find the Abyss's disciples, begin now, yes. Are you sure? Okay, right? Like 2 steps at least, or maybe something harder to screw up, like you have to hold it instead of just tapping it, but whatever. Yeah, it seems like they can just get anywhere, even if it's the middle of Schwarzwolf. Whatchamacallit? Guild place, guild hall. If I take it on now, will my sister be angry? Yeah, I mean, it's not Lycagon related. So she's not gonna be angry at you for going after Ktarnit, right? She couldn't care less about Ktarnit, so you're safe. Now, if you were to tell her that you beat Lycagon's shadow, that's a different matter entirely. And yeah, I have my own reasons for playing. Love wins all. Yeah, it is one powerful party, for sure. Balliste makes sense. Monsters, rotten fishmen, fish zombie things. Gunpowder doesn't exist in this setting. Now that's curious. That is curious. Now, I'm not gonna be like going through the entirety of the episode and previous ones just to look for evidence of like higher developed technology than gunpowder, but yeah, I would have expected them to have gunpowder. Maybe not like super widely spread, right? Like they wouldn't have access to revolvers or whatever, but at least basic muskets or blunderbusses or something like that, right? But no, apparently not. Yep, precious ship, the Crimson Whale Pirates. We still don't know what exactly is the deal with NPCs and his markings. I would have expected at least, something, like some more detail from the NPCs, maybe. Like, I expected Stude to tell the reason to rust and mold, but no, apparently not. I don't know if not at all or not yet. We'll see about it. And yeah, Roots doesn't seem like a rival so far. It could change. It could change if Sanraku goes back to the mecha game, then maybe it's gonna change. But so far he has his hands full with Shangri-La. Fishing doesn't work on a moving ship. That's a shame. I would fully expect it to work on a moving ship with the kind of attention to detail that Shangri-La has. You would expect fishing to be at least somewhat realistic in that the ship moving doesn't, like, I mean, I guess it does scare the fish away, but not like completely, so I don't know. Yeah, a natural storm, and the ghost ship appears from under the surface of water, and the ray saves a damsel in distress. That was almost a hug. That's like the third base already. Damn, she's moving quick. Saraku goes hard in this scenario, right? Takes control over the situation. Stand on your own 2 feet before you say that. You expect to avenge your popes cowering on the deck. He goes hard, like he really gets immersed into the whole thing. It's not a game to him anymore. It's an event that he's living right now. And I really like it about Shangri-La in general, how it manages to make the world and the story both undoubtedly feel like a game and show that it's a game, right? Without a shred of doubt. But at the same time, it makes everything so real, right? Like, take away the game bits for a moment. Take that completely away. Maybe have a bit of a classic cop out of it's a fantasy word, but you have a status spell that shows your status, right? We know that Japanese really like this kind of trope. Take the whole game thing and real life and everything away. This still works as its own story. It really works without the whole game background at all. And I think that's honestly great. If we steer away, it'll tear a hole. Yep. So we gotta hit it head on, and what do you know? The ship actually is able to survive it. Not just that, but it's able to rip a pretty big hole in the ghost ship. And time for boarding. I love this little moment. It just gets wiped off the screen. Just a matter of a few frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's gone. It reminds me of playing Warframe with a bow with like high enough stats that it kills enemies instantly and just pinning the enemies to walls and just throwing them all around the map, because when you hit an enemy with a bow projectile in Warframe, the projectile continues and it kills the enemy. The projectile continues its path with the enemy now attached to it. so you can just launch enemy corpses halfway across the map with a well-aimed shot. And this instantly reminded me of bows in Warframe. All my stats are still halved. Yeah, and not just that, but also her armor stats are apparently lowered as well. Akitsu Akane is low level, so she can't do much. Rei is severely debuffed, so she can't do much. I actually like it. I actually like that we have a mixture of clearly very strong and very powerful players and some who are not in their best right now. But the debuff is gonna wear off eventually. Akitsu Akane is gonna get a couple of levels eventually. Maybe she's even gonna find a new weapon in among the corpses or something. We'll see. And soon enough, they're gonna make one powerful party. What's the sword he's using? Is this the Decapitator? I think it might be the Decapitator. I kind of forgot how it looks, but maybe it's that, or maybe he just gets another random sword. I don't know. She's an archer. On one hand, surprising. On the other, I don't know. I mean, it works for her, absolutely. But for some reason, I did not think that she would be an archer. Mold being a support, though, that's like perfectly on brand for him. And the borders are getting boarded. Magic. Okay, so it's not holy magic, it's just magic. But still seems to do enough damage to the zombies to destroy them completely. And Sanraku can slowly chip them away with his corrosion, which also eventually works. But yeah, he is severely lacking in the AoE department, doesn't he? Isn't he? He has Guild Abril, I guess. Guild Abril is capable of AoE attacks. But besides that, not really. Seems to be a gap that he might want to close eventually. Maybe add some sort of spin to win move with, his arms with daggers outstretched and just spinning around or something like that. Maybe some AoE Ring of Fire kind of spell for Emul. Because there's gonna be situations like this when you're surrounded by a bunch of low tier mobs that you have to clean up quickly. And Mold with Roost are joining the fray, of course. They're managing, they being Akitsu Akane and Rei. Defensive buffs don't really work, yeah, alas. Although you could debuff the enemies. Or you could maybe buff Emul. That could be a thing you could do. Infinite Spawn, right. It is a possibility that you can't even clear the ads, they just spawn constantly, and you just have to defeat the boss while keeping the ads in check. Makes sense. And this is just a big fishman. Nothing like super unique, super strong, super big. Just a large fishman. Yeah, he picks up the cutlass. And probably isn't able to do much, but Sanraku's speech awoke something in him. I like it. I like that players can have this sort of an effect on the NPCs, right? I really do like that. Yeah, all stats are halved, armor's abilities drop. Couldn't you wear different armor? Potentially? Or is it just a debuff that debuffs all of your armor no matter what you wear? Can't use Antimony with my current stats, can't be a burden any longer, and so she decides to take out Another weapon. I wish I knew what those words say here. And while we're on the topic, the big fish man had this weird... yeah, there we go. Denizen of the Abyss. Frill Shark Zombie. Is the Japanese text also like inverted? Or is this just an issue with the subs? I don't know, you let me know if the kanji or hiragana or whatever it is also inverted. Emul in a safe position to provide supporting fire. Makes perfect sense actually for her to be up there. After the Moonblades, I ascended my Mars Daggers to be reborn into Empire B Twinblade V5. That's not Empire B Twinblade V5. That's Duke's Ram. Because Empire B Twinblade is what he equipped before. Yeah, Empire B Twinblade V5 equipped. And the Japanese text is also different. And here the Japanese text is different, but it still says Empire B Twinblade V5. So they fucked up the subs, I guess. And instead it is... how does he pronounce it? Duke'sram. Okay. Duke'sram. It feels weird to say this name because in Polish, which is my native language, if you didn't know, that latter part, thram, means I am currently taking a shit. So, so a name like Duke'sram just sits weird in my mouth. Yeah, that's Duke'sram he's using. Where was this showcase of weapons? Yeah, here. Okay, so this is Akitsakana's log. This is Rast's bow. Sanaku's Duke'sram. Emul's spellbook. Emul's mana potion. The Fool. Or any other kind of card. Okay, so we didn't see everybody's weapons there, alas. So we don't know what Ray is gonna pull. Alas. And yeah, that's the episode. That was episode 43 of Shangri-La Frontier. And it was a fun one. I really had fun watching this episode. It was one of those that kind of bend the perception of time a little bit, right? Because as it was happening, as I was watching it, as it was playing here on my screen, it like worked perfectly within the timeline of reality, if that makes any sense. Right? Like, I didn't feel that it was particularly short or particularly long. I didn't feel that the pacing had any sort of issues either way, right? It was perfectly well done. But after I watched it, I get the feeling that it was so incredibly short. You know? Like, while watching it, it didn't feel short. But as it ended, it suddenly felt short. And I think it did just because I would like to watch more right now. And yeah, this show just works for me. It really does work. I mean, you could probably tell by the state of my channel where this is right now the only show I'm recording. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something about that, huh? But regardless, this was a very good episode. I really like the fact that we actually got an explanation about Rey's armor state, right? That this is probably because of the debuff, specifically to her armor. And I'm not gonna be annoyed anymore about her armor being dirty, because now I know why it is. I love how simple of an explanation it was that Rei, Sikru, and Akitsu Akane were teleported here. They were still in the party. Duh. Sanraku is so not used to being in a party, let alone being a leader, that he just forgot to disband it. Makes perfect sense, actually. And I love it. It's great. And they set us up for a fight with a boss, and presumably after the fight with the boss, we're gonna have like a couple of episodes more. Like, next episode is gonna be the fight with the boss. Perhaps one more episode is also gonna be a fight with the boss. Then we're gonna travel somewhere, maybe. So that's another episode, and then the big fight with Ktarnid. That's what I would assume is gonna happen. Unless they're not actually gonna fight Ktarnid in this season and they're gonna create like a seasonal cliffhanger where the last moments of the last episode are the whole squad standing in front of Ktarnid and the season ends. Wait for announcement of season 3. I hope they wouldn't do that. But anything is possible. So we don't know until we know, you know. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it from me for today. But maybe you guys have something more to add on the topic of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that. If so, say so in the comments down below. No spoilers, please. Spoilers can go to my Discord here, also in the description if you'd like. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Shangri-La but others, plenty of them in the future. Click the bell to be notified when those videos go up and when I go live, because I do stream sometimes. Not often, but I sometimes do. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, it costs absolutely nothing to do so, and it does help the channel a lot. And now with all of that out of the way, it's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: Cubies, Rainer, Zimbeltor, Dr. Watt, Akamancer, Marsh Vassal, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to fight any rotting fish.